Welcome to your favorite channel where you get to learn about leadership, communication, and networking. My name is Dapo Ibrahim and I'm the host of this channel. Today we'll be talking about how to get yourself to the productivity zone faster and how to make sure that you stay focused in that productivity zone. Now, question: has it ever happened to you whereby you actually have a to-do list, you have a plan on what you want to do throughout the day, and after you get into the day, some things happen, and you just couldn't get to do everything on your to-do list, and then you shove it off and you're like, well, today is gone, tomorrow's another day. Does that ever happen to you? Well, it's happened to me and a lot of people that I know on several occasions. But when this kind of things happens to you, that simply means you're not yet in the zone, because you are still brushing things off even though you haven't gotten things done. So you want to make sure you get yourself to the point where whether or not you feel like doing it, you still get things done. And that is the goal of today's video. By the end of this video, you would have learned the tips that will help you to get yourself into the productivity zone faster and also stay logged into that zone. Because until you find a way to get yourself into the zone, you will not achieve massive success. You need to be able to get yourself to the zone whereby whether or not you feel like doing it, whether or not the odds are in your favor or the odds are against you, whether or not people like you or not, whether or not you have the money, whether or not you have the ability, whether or not, regardless of all the odds, you still get yourself in the zone and you still got everything done. So that's the whole plan, that's the goal of this video. So by the end of this video, you would have become a lion, because this video would simply help you unleash your superpower to get everything done regardless of the situation. So I have multiple points here, I think 7 all together, and I will just go through them and read them to you guys, and also explain a bit. So the very first one that I have is have a pre-workout ritual. Very important. There's so many days whereby you just wake up and you don't feel like doing things, but then the moment you take a shower and just go out and walk out and do what you have to do, and get yourself in the zone, then you start getting things done. It happens. I've read multiple books, I've watched multiple masterclasses, and everyone has their own routine. And that is the whole point of this point, that you need to identify what your pre-work ritual is. You need to identify your pre-work ritual. It could be one of my favorite writers, I think Dan Brown. Yeah, before he starts writing, he does jumping jacks. Aaron Sorkin says he takes 6 to 8 showers, because to him it's all about a fresh start. So you need to have a pre-work ritual. You need to have something that you do that gets you in the mindset, in the mind frame of, you know what, I have to do this. So identify your pre-work, not pre-workout, your pre-work ritual. What you do before you work. What's the thing that you do and get you in the position where, okay, you know what, I really want to get things done. Okay, so Lisan Damisk, a social psychologist at the University of Cologne, conducted 4 experiments to test how effective some superstitious rituals are, the rituals that some people do before they work. And the results, which were published in a paper entitled "Keep Your Fingers Crossed: How Superstition Improves Performance," found that these pre-game rituals are beneficial. The reason: engaging in the pre-game ritual boosts self-confidence in an individual's abilities. They can also be helpful in calming pre-game leaders, and it gives them a chance to clear their head and stay in the moment by only focusing on the routine. And that's the essence of having a pre-work ritual. In this scenario, we're talking about athletes and gamers, what they do before they get themselves, into the game, maybe like basketball court or the football field. But what about you, a non-professional athlete? You can also benefit from something similar. In this case, a pre-work ritual can help get you into a work rhythm, maintain your energy, and shift your perspective. Best of all, a pre-work ritual doesn't have to be complex or elaborate. It could be as simple as powering up your laptop, putting your phones in a desk drawer, or reciting a daily affirmation. You just need to identify what your pre-work ritual is. Like I mentioned earlier on, everyone has a different pre-work ritual. So once you identify yours, it becomes what you do to get yourself into the work mind frame that helps you to, achieve the goal that you really want to achieve for that day or the week or the month. Just have that pre-work ritual for the day in this case. Second thing, this is very, very, very daring to me. This is very important to me. This is something that has helped me over the years. Once I do this, I can get myself in the work mode for the next 12 hours. This is something very powerful. This is something that when you go to the gym, you see a lot of people do this. At workplace, you see people do it. Some people do it not consciously. Some people do it, not strategically. Some people don't do it. They just do it because, at the moment, that's what they require. But you can hone this. And, you can focus it and just tap into this when it comes to you trying to get things done. And the second point is organizing a playlist. You can curate your own playlist, have your own music. My own go-to music usually is Ivan Torrent. Two of his albums are on YouTube. The first one is Reverie. The second one is Immortalis. And I listen to his albums over and over and over and over and over and over and over again whenever I'm writing a script or whatever it is that I'm doing. Once I have Ivan Torrent's instrumental playing, I can go for it's like drugs for my brain. You understand? I've noticed over the last couple of years that I listen to music mostly often when I'm working, and also when I'm working out. While not in the case for every single person, research throughout the years shows that background music encourages you to become more immersed in your work. Background music improves cognition and mood. Music can help you maintain focus. Music also boosts mental and physical performance. Music improves the efficiency of work when performing repetitive tasks. Music increases your morale. Okay, so that's the whole point of having music. When you have, and not just some random music, because music has this power to influence your emotion. So if you're working and you're listening to maybe a slow music that's getting your brain on focus, and all of a sudden just jump from there to like a very, very violent rap, that switches your mood. That might affect you getting things. So that is why you don't just listen to the radio. You have your own specific playlist, and when you have your playlist, it becomes yours. It becomes what you listen to. Like I said, when I'm writing a book, for example, I listen to the same music over and over again. And when I say over and over again, it's not just for a day. I listen to the same music in like 3 months, repetitively, because every time I listen to it, I just find myself in the zone. The zone where I want to be, where I want to really write these things, and I want to, release my creativity and put it down on a piece of paper. So yeah, organize your playlist, create your playlist, your work playlist that you listen to, and it's really, this is like my favorite. It really helps me a lot, and I know a lot of people that this really helps. Point number 3 is clear mental clutter. Always clear mental clutter. This is something that you might have to, because the way our mind works, we have like a billion thoughts running through our mind, and you need to be able to focus your thoughts. You need to be able to focus your vision. You need to be able to focus what you're thinking. You understand? And the moment you can focus it, all of those billion thoughts starts working for that one thing that you focused on. As long as you don't have a focus, you keep thinking about everything. This is why people get anxiety. This is why people get stressed. This is why people get crazy, because they have so many mental activities going on without focusing on like specific ones that really, really matters. You might need like a piece of notepad to write things on in order to have more clarity, because at this point you're trying to clear your mental clutter. You might need a piece of paper. You might need like the phone and the task tab on your phone, and identify everything that you have to do. Set an alarm, add everything on your calendar, and that way that helps you shape things up, and that helps you stay focused on the things that really, so you don't become a slave to your billion thoughts. You become much more in control of everything around you, and that's a kind of a big deal. It's impossible to focus on your work when your brain is preoccupied. I'm talking about remembering to call a client, put your laundry in the dryer, or pursue a new business idea. With everything on paper, then you can organize your thoughts. Initially some were just random ideas that come, that can be tossed. If there's something important like making that phone call, then you add it to your to-do list. And for less important tasks, you just schedule those whenever you have a free time, you get to do them. You block time for them. So you could use so many things. You could use your pen and paper to write things down. You could use your cell phone to write things down. You could use like a cloud system. There's so many things that can help you in clearing your mental clutter. You don't have to be a slave to everything that happens inside your head. Very important. Always keep that in mind. Very, very important, because I can't deny there are days I just wake up and I have billions of thoughts in my head, and because I don't have any focus, I feel like I'm going crazy. But no need for that. That is the whole point of this video, to make sure you don't go crazy, to make sure you get into the productivity zone, and also to make sure you stay focused in that productivity zone. Point number 4, create something. Create a very forced deadline. This is very important. If you have something to do, human beings, I feel like majority of us are just wired to get things done the moment. And this happens to me. I don't know if you've experienced anything like that, please just feel free to share it with me. I remember back then, and it still happens to me even now when I'm taking classes, but now I'm kind of much more better. But back then, when they give us like an assignment to do, sometimes your lecturer will be like, write a 12-page essay, and he'll probably give us like 3 weeks or 4 weeks to get this done. But then within the first 3 weeks and like 3 days, I don't get to do nothing. I don't get to do anything. I spend so much time thinking about the assignment and then playing around, whatever. But the moment it's a day to submission, I will cough out 12 pages of essay. And I've done this over and over again. It's not the best thing. It's a it's a bad habit. But one way to overcome this is to create a forced deadline. And you have to enforce it, because every time you force a deadline on yourself and you don't meet up with the deadline, and you don't punish yourself for it, or you don't reprimand yourself for it, it sticks with you, and then that becomes who you are. So you need to have like a reprimanding system and a rewarding system for yourself. But yeah, create a forced deadline. This will help you. It's like what Tony Robbins would say, burn the boats, take the island. Like, there's no way back. It's only going forward, henceforth. Deadline keeps you accountable, prioritize your schedule, and helps you reach your goals. Research has also found that they can help reduce the likelihood of procrastination. What if you don't have a set deadline? Go ahead and make your own. Just keep the following in mind when you make those deadlines, when you make your own deadline. Don't be vague, like complete first draft of my book next month. Deadlines need to be concrete, such as complete first draft by March 2nd at 5 p.m. So you don't just say things around. You have to put date and time. You have to be very specific. And the beauty of this is, every time you do things like this and you're falling short, you can tell. You can easily tell that, yeah, I'm not performing, and you can call yourself to that. But if you don't do that, you see, everyone that fails in life, maybe like feels like at age 40, it's not because they're failing at that moment. No, it's an accumulation of so many things that they choose not to take care of. So you don't want to be like that. You want to be on top of yourself and be on top of your situation. And whenever you impose a deadline on yourself, you want to make sure you meet that deadline. It's very important. Second thing to take note of is deadline also must be realistic. If it's February 28th and you haven't even begun work on your book, that March 2nd deadline isn't going to float. All right, so you need to be hard on yourself, okay? And then make sure that your deadlines are meaningful. In other words, you need to either external or intrinsic motivation to follow through. So if you missed your March 2nd deadline, you can't go on your planned vacation. All right, think about the reward and reprimanding system that you have to create for yourself. So every time you say you want to do something and you don't do it, you reprimand yourself. That way you become much more effective, much more productive, and you get keyed into that productivity zone. For larger distal goals, establish deadline for proximal goals. The smaller, that means when you have like a broader goal, break them down into smaller achievable goals, and then set deadlines for each of the smaller achievable goals. So you don't just go around thinking, oh man, this work is too big, how will I do this? No, you want to just break things down and achieve those smaller goals. All right, so we'll go into the fifth point. The fifth point is, and this is something that I go through a lot especially when I'm writing, because when I'm writing, I like to be alone. And there was this masterclass I took, I think, with Carol Joyce Oates. She's a great writer, by the way. And she said something in that class. She said, interruption is the enemy of creativity. And every time you're in that creative zone, and there's this sudden sound, it pulls you out of that zone. The moment you get pulled out of that zone, you've lost touch with it. No more creativity, no productivity. And you might not even find that zone until the next 2 months. So Interruption is the enemy of creativity. In this case, interruption is the enemy of productivity. So that leads us to the fifth point. The fifth point I have here is to build a fortress against interruption. Anything that might distract or tempt us away from single tasking needs to be taken care of before we drop into the zone, the productive zone. That phrase is from Christina Carter. So to counter this, here's what Dr. Carter does to find flow. Let me just share this with you. 5 points. Clean and organizes our workplace. 2. Open only the documents or applications she needs for work. Any other app or browsers are closed. 3. Puts her smartphone into do not disturb mode and moves it out of sight. 4. Goes to the bathroom and bring a glass of water, snack, and cup of coffee to a desk, to the desk where she writes. And then 5. Dr. Carter also closes her office door and puts on no noise cancelling headphones if she is not alone. All of this is just to break interruption, to take it away, because there's some cases where it's inevitable, but you need to reduce interruption to the barest minimum, because interruption, once it takes you out of the zone, it becomes difficult to get back into the zone. Okay, so while distractions are inevitable, you can at least thwart most of them before they interfere with your flow. Take a couple of minutes to anticipate everything you need, and you might want to take note of. You might want to take notes of what distracts you and when so you can plan accordingly. Like if your kids come home at 2 p.m., you should wrap up your work before then. Okay? So yeah, interruption, you want to make sure you minimize it to the barest minimum. Okay? And the sixth point I have is use social facilitation to your advantage. And this is something that we all need, because human beings, we are all social animals. We need each other. We need each other's friendship. We need each other's companionship. We need each other's support. We need each other's social presence. So this point is to use social facilitation to your advantage. I'm gonna ask you a question. How many times have you been in a situation? So for example, you're planning to go do something and then you just fell down, but then your friend out of the blue just gives you a call, and then you have the energy to just keep going again. This has happened to me on multiple occasions. There was a time I had a 10 hours class and I was supposed to go to the gym after my class, and after the 10 hours class, I will the 10 hours class in 6 p.m. I would relax for like 30 minutes and then go to the gym by 6:30 p.m. But on this day, I was so exhausted. I was really exhausted. I just lie down on the floor and I just didn't want to do anything after the 10 hours class. And a friend of mine just phone calling, and this is a guy that we go to the gym together, and just told me, hey, I'm at your gym, where you at? I was like, I was feeling tired before, but now that you're there, I'm coming over there. And that was how I was able to use the social facilitation to my advantage. You understand? So that's the whole point of using social facilitation to your advantage. Every time you go hanging out with people, make sure these are people that support your dreams. Make sure these are people that support your growth. Make sure these are people that always give you, constructive feedback, positive criticism. Make sure these are people that just want you to grow, want you to succeed. Don't just hang out around people that don't give, a 2 cents about you, and then you're just wasting your time with them. So use social facilitation to your advantage. Okay? Having someone else to nudge us along and hold us accountable can be greatly beneficial. In fact, social psychologists have been examining this phenomenon for over a century. Okay, so for instance, social facilitation was first observed in 1898 when Norman triplets found that bicycle racers achieved better times when racing together than when alone. Okay, so just keep that in mind, and we will get to our seventh point, a seventh principle, and this is something that's pretty easy. It's to follow the Goldilocks principle. How many of us here, are familiar with the Goldilocks principle? If you're familiar with the Goldilocks principle, you remember she was this lady, and she was testing out the porridge, and then she was taking the one that's the warmest. The same thing applies in this scenario. Okay. You remember the children's story, the three little beets, the three bears, right? Yeah. This is a story where Goldilocks tastes three different porridge until she finds one with the right temperature. She also does this when finding a bed to take a nap in. This principle has been used in fields like astronomy, biology, economics, engineering, and developmental psychology. It can also be applied to guide you into entering productivity flow. I know you guys just asked how, so I'm just share that with you. You want to focus on work that is neither too challenging nor too easy. If there is a good balance between challenge and skills, then you start feeling the flow. If there's a good balance between the challenge and the skill, then you start feeling the flow. And that's because tasks that are too difficult can be overwhelming, while the ones that are too simplistic can make you bored. So sometimes, however, this is unavoidable, but you can try to, gamify mundane tasks to make them more exciting if you find the task too difficult. And there you go. I just shared 7 points with you on how to enter the productivity zone faster and also focus better. I'll go over the points again just for us to make sure that we all remember. The very first point that I gave was have a pre-work ritual. Then the second one, which is my favorite, is always organize a playlist. The third one is clear mental clutter. Alright, the fourth one is to create a forced deadline. The fifth one is to build a fortress against interruption. The sixth one is to use social facilitation to your advantage. And then the final one is to follow the Goldilocks principle. And there it is. There you have it, my friends from all across the globe. Like I said, at the end of this video, you will feel like a lion that has been let out of the cage, and I believe that is how you're feeling now. I can't wait for you to try one of these principles or even all of this principle to get you in the productivity zone, because that's the whole point of this video. You want to become highly productive individual. You want to become highly beneficial to society. You want to become highly beneficial to your family, and you could do all this by just being productive. And with this point that I just shared with every single one of us, I believe this point will be able to get us all into the zone and become even more productive. Once again, my name is Dapo Ibrahim, and this is your favorite channel where you learn about leadership, communication, and networking. If you like this video, if you find this video something of benefit, click the like button below. And if you learned something very powerful, please share this video with all of your friends and family so they can all learn as well. And also make sure you subscribe to this channel. That way, whenever I release another video, you become the very first person to see the video. Until next time, when I'll be seeing your face, my name is Dapo Ibrahim. Love and respect to every single one of you. Take care.